Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 36 of Emerald City Sports, the podcast. Josh, I know you love your Kraken. And so I decided this episode, we're going to kick things off with the Seattle Kraken because, ladies and gentlemen, the Seattle Kraken are now in the NHL playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. In only their second year, the Seattle Kraken have gone from nothing to something. They have really turned the tables. Josh, you love to see it. What is your reaction to this?
What a turnaround going from bottom of the Pacific Division, claiming the third overall pick in the draft, to a NHL playoff caliber team by literally adding absolutely no one.
I mean, you just really gotta praise Dave Haxtell for this, and you also gotta praise the players for really improving. They really took a big step forward, a big leap forward. When you saw that from guys like Matty Beniers, and so you love to see it. Fourth in the Pacific Division, but playoffs, so they pretty much have not that much to worry about anymore in the regular season since they've already earned their spot. So I mean, truly, you love to see it. But Josh, even though the regular season isn't really as important to the Kraken anymore, they still got to finish out these last two games. Well, technically 3 games when we're recording this, but 2 games as you face the two games against the Vegas Golden Knights, who the NHL are really trying to make our rivals. Josh, the Golden Knights are a very tough team. We all know that. What do the Kraken have to do to truly solidify themselves and show all the other NHL teams that, hey, we're here, we're going to fight, and we're going to give it our all?
They can do that by absolutely destroying the Golden Knights, which actually in a position where the Golden Knights will actually be going hard on them. Golden Knights only having a 2-point lead of the Oilers, and they do not want to give up that division win. So they're gonna go hard on us for those final 2 games, and I mean it's gonna be a tough game. We've beaten them before in Vegas, and these 2 wins could put us in some momentum to actually sweep and then go far into the playoffs.
And when you look at the standings of the Pacific Division, now the Calgary Flames are way too far behind for the Kraken to be able to even have a chance to get past the Kraken. But you have LA, the LA Kings. Now, Seattle and the LA Kings are pretty tight. Josh, is there a chance that the Kraken can possibly move up to third in the Pacific Division, or is fourth just where they're going to stay for the rest of this season?
I think it will depend on this game that's going on right now against the Kings and Canucks. Will the Canucks try hard? Probably not. And I think Kings getting a win, and that would mean we would have to, because we are down 1-0 against the Coyotes right now as we are recording this late night on Monday. So this is not looking like a win, and then we would have to sweep Vegas, and then Kings would have to lose their final game.
Funny, I mean, when you mention like this top four, you got the Golden Knights, Oilers, Kings, and Kraken. We are all really tight. Those two forward there's for with the Golden Knights at the top and the Kraken in fourth. There's only a 4 game difference between those two teams. So I mean that Pacific Division is really tight. If you know the Kraken had those times where they weren't in losing skids, I think they really could have stayed up there in first. And I mean that would have been the best turnaround. But hey, they make it to the playoffs. I mean, a lot of Kraken fans will absolutely take it because it is such a nice turnaround from the inaugural season where everyone was expecting them to be good, just like the Golden Knights were, only to fall flat on their face. And so this turnaround is really nice. Josh, once the playoffs come in and settle in, what are you expecting from the Kraken?
To lock down on the goaltending, which they've somewhat actually they've done pretty nicely near the end of the season. And looking at the bracket right now, we are if we pass the Kings, we'll play the Oilers. If not, we will play the Avalanche right now. That is that they are leading the Central Division. So two very good goal scoring teams, especially in the Oilers that have become red hot and jumped from the wild card all the way to second in the division, only in like 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, the Kraken, they obviously have a tough road ahead of them if they want to get to the Stanley Cup. Josh, out of all the players, I mean, you've obviously got big name stars on this Kraken team. Who are you looking at the most to really make a statement once these playoffs come around?
Matty Beniers, the guy, the rookie coming out of no coming becoming a draft pick last year over to a star here. He's had some weird stretches where he has draughts in, but he is heating up now, and I think he'll be able to go on fire in the playoffs. That's what will take the Kraken far.
Yes, best of luck to the Kraken. I mean, I said this a couple episodes ago, but I mean, I gotta say it again. Seattle sports really is thriving. It is a new chapter in Seattle sports, and it is going very, very well for Seattle right now. Best of luck to the Kraken. They will, win or lose, they have made many hockey fans of the Pacific Northwest proud by being able to make it to the playoffs in only their second season. Look, the Golden Knights were impressive by making it their inaugural season, but I mean, inaugural teams usually have a bad track record for the first 10 seasons. Even with, new NHL teams getting an advantage, this is still really impressive to make it in your second year. So kudos to the Kraken, kudos to Dave Haxtell, kudos to the players, Matty Beniers, Brandon Tanev, all those guys. They are going to do great in the playoffs. Josh, anything else you want to talk about for the Kraken?
Not specifically for the Kraken, but Seattle is the only city other than LA, which has two teams, right, to have a MLB, NFL, and NHL team make it in the same sports season.
I won't even be surprised if, like, in a couple of years, every team wins their respective championship. I mean, it would be crazy to see, but it could happen.
Or we could turn into Philly. I mean,
Uh,
you gotta be realistic
But
here.
even with that, I mean, Philly, all their sports teams, that's really impressive for them just to even make it to the championship game. I mean, they may have lost all of them, but still, I mean, that's still really impressive. Sounders could win the MLS Cup, which is really a good possibility right now. Seattle might be a long run Seahawks, but they could still win the Super Bowl in maybe 5 years or something like that when we draft a new QB. Because if I'm being honest, Gino, I don't think we're going to go to the Super Bowl with him. We are going to make the playoffs, but I don't know about Super Bowl. That's going to be really hard. Mariners, a World Series is in the future somewhere. And then the Kraken Stanley Cup. It really could happen this year, honestly, if they make a Cinderella run. So, I mean, great things happening in Seattle sports right now. The Kraken going to the playoffs for the very first time. They are going to kill it. Now, Josh, the Mariners, although we've been hyping up Seattle sports, the Mariners have not exactly been having the best of luck right now. When we last talked, they were facing the Angels in a series. They lost that series to the Angels as, Trout and Shohei and the rest of that Angels team was just too good for them. Then they went back to Cleveland. They won the series, but they were not able to get a sweep in a rough extra inning loss. And then now they're facing the Chicago Cubs. I know, the Chicago Cubs. That's crazy. Everyone assumes when we play Chicago it's going to be the White Sox. But since the MLB has the new rules, we are allowed to play all the NL teams. So honestly, that's kind of cool because it would be nice to see the Mariners, play at Wrigley Field like they did today. But they lost to the Cubs 3-2. Josh, not going so great for the Mariners right now. What is your reaction?
I can sum up this entire season one stat. We are 0 in and 3 in extra inning games. We cannot we yesterday or Sunday we had a 12 inning loss to the Cleveland Guardians, and now we can't perform against we can't finish against the Cubs with Matt Brash blowing runs in both games. I'm not necessarily blaming he's a problem. He's just the guy that gets caught in the crossfire and just guy that finishes the other team's attack that gets them the win over us.
Yeah, I mean that bullpen has really been rough. I mean, Andres Munoz is now injured, which obviously means Seawall can't carry them on zone. Brash has been doing a decent job. Trevor Gott has come out of nowhere, but other than that, I mean, the bullpen has just been rough. They've been giving up a lot of runs, much of a contrast from the bullpen that we saw last year, who was always clutching up, always getting the outs when we needed them most. It's really rough to see. But on the hitting side, I mean, they are getting a good amount of runs in there. We got to talk about Jared Kelenic right now. Jared Kelenic has been on absolute fire. Josh, I know you used to be kind of a Kelenic hater. What do you got to say now?
I will now take that back. Jared Kelnick is amazing. As of right now, he's basically better than Teoscar Hernandez and Colton Wong, the two additions that we got this off season. Coming in, he was able to bring the game to 2-2 in the top of the ninth, though we couldn't finish it out. Or was it? Yeah, top of the ninth, but we just couldn't finish it out from there. And I mean, he gets the hits where it's due. He's he got that clutch home run. This is looking good. We could finally have a season. We could finally this could finally be the time where Jared Kelnick finally sticks in the lineup.
Believe it or not, he has a higher batting average than Julio Rodriguez. Now, Julio has played pretty much all the games, while Jared has sat out a couple, but still a higher average than Julio Rodriguez. I mean, he's been getting clutch hit after clutch hit. Got his first home run against the Cubs to tie the game up. Unfortunately, we lost, but still, I mean, Jerry Kelenic has just truly turned into what a lot of Mariners fans were hoping he would become. For a long time, a lot of people were doubting him. He was jumping from majors to minors to majors to minors. But now I believe he has truly solidified himself here in the major leagues. Now we got to talk about the new additions. Colton Wong has been quite disappointing for the Mariners. And Teoscar Hernandez, although he had that 2 home run game, I mean, he's still doing mid, I guess you could say. So what are your thoughts about the new additions, Josh? I mean, they haven't really been what we've been hoping for.
I mean, yeah, they've been like hitting Colton Wong just he just can't hit the ball at all. Teoscar Hernandez, I mean, he mildly hits the ball, and his field play is, I mean, I guess
Questionable.
okay, questionable. Colton Wong did have today or what? I get Monday had a nice flick in the air to get the out on first base. He has some good field of plays, but that those routine ish esque plays won't be able to cover this hitting. And the thing is, we will really. I mean, we already had that hole in the DH. We can't decide who to pick. Cooper Hummel was, I mean, pretty good, but Lacella too had some shiny moments. We just can't have a good hitter in the DH spot at all. Last season we just filled it up with a catcher, which did I guess okay, but we need some good option there. And if Tay or Kun Wong just goes so horribly that we have to take him out, who we're gonna we have too many holes that we need to fill, and we will have to make some very big and possibly damaging our prospect trades to get to fill these holes.
And I think it's really another thing that's really rough to see is the guys that we moved on from are doing a great job. I mean, Jesse Winker has been hitting pretty well. Adam Frazier also been doing good. So I mean, it's kind of tough to see that. Thinking we could have stuck with them, but now they're doing well while our new guys aren't exactly performing up to their level. But I mean, the Mariners do start slow a lot, so I can't really say I'm like super surprised that we're what 4-6, 4-7, and so I mean it'll take time. They're gonna get their groove on. Maybe even another win streak in the summer or something like that. Um, so I mean, we gotta be patient here. It's only what 11 games in. There's plenty of time left. There's plenty of ball left to play, so it will take time. But they do need to get something done soon. Josh, now the Mariners, they will face another series. I mean, another two games with the Cubs. Then they face three games with the Rockies, and then three with the Milwaukee Brewers. What are you expecting from these three series?
Well, Cubs, it's going to be about stopping Bellinger. We were able to do that in that first game. Can we do it in the other games? I don't know. Especially because our bullpens are depleted with these combined, what, like 10 or four extra, combined four extra innings that we had to use bullpen people on, some having to play both days like Brash. Their arms are really tired. Hopefully, we can get past that series, pick that rest day on Thursday, go home, play against the Rockies, who I guess have been okay. I don't have any stuff on them. Then the Brewers get to play against Jesse Winker at T-Mobile Park. We'll see how that goes.
I honestly, even though there were reports that Jesse Winker wasn't like did not have good work ethic or he wasn't like the best teammate, I still kind of want them to cheer him on, because he was in his 1 year with the Mariners, he was quite a hero, especially in that Angels brawl. So I mean, look, we're not expecting too much. We're just hoping that they stay in the game, scratch out a couple wins, and then we'll move on to the next month, hopefully stronger than ever. It will take time. The Mariners have plenty of time. They've got this. I think we will be okay. Josh, the Sounders, they whooped St. Louis 3-0 over the inaugural first place team in St. Louis. Josh, you love to see it. Domination by the Sounders. What are your thoughts?
Whoa! We are now number one in the West. 16 points. We scored 3 goals against the former top team in the West. That started their season 5-0, all in the second half. Josh Atencio, yay, another Josh. His first career MLS goal and a 30 percentile lead in the MLS goal of the week standings. Jordan, Raul Diaz came back from his injuries and such off the bench, scored one. Jordan Morris could have taken that one to make it his ninth goal and make history, but he let Raul have
Team
that
player.
basically.
Truly a team
hmm
player.
And then the third goal was actually an own goal off a St. Louis player into the goal. And we almost even had a fourth one from Jordan Morris, but it was ruled offside.
An own goal in the 89th minute. That's just insult adding on to insult right there. That's just sad. Sounders now in first place at 5-1-1. Josh, they are doing really darn well for a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. They face Portland, the big rivalry. Portland and Seattle. It's gonna be in Portland, so I mean, obviously it's going to be a big feisty game with a lot of Portland fans most likely heckling. But Seattle does have the advantage in this game. Josh, Portland is a big time rival. What are you expecting from this game, and how will we pull off the win?
I'm expecting it to be like a rivalry game. There's going to be some giant. There's going to be some hits. The referee usually lets the players fight it out. So possibly even some injuries as well. But for the Portland team themselves, they just lost this week to a also as bad Vancouver team, which we've I think 1-0, which we've um beaten them in years past pretty handily. And now showing that this Portland team is also horrible as well. This could seem like a pretty dominant game over our town or over our Pacific Northwest rivals. I'm gonna make a prediction here. I'm gonna just like the UConn thing, which I did predict as well. UConn beating
You
San
were
Diego
right.
State before
You
this
were
recording.
right.
I'm gonna say Sounders win by at least two or I think 2-0. I'm gonna say right now. Shutout
Okay.
win by two or more over Portland. Dominant game. Jordan Morris is gonna. I think they're gonna put in Jordan Morris and I think they're gonna put back in Raul Ruidiaz because he scored a goal as well as Josh Atencio in the backfield. And put Jordan Morris on the wing to be able to cross it to Raul Ruidiaz and hopefully score some goals.
I mean, Portland is not doing so well right now. They've lost 4 times, but I mean, anything can happen in soccer. So, I mean, I wouldn't be exactly too comfortable right now. Portland really could come out of nowhere because you can see this a lot in MLS. So, we'll see what happens. Now, Josh, you were right about the Yukon thing. I will play this. Hopefully, Josh, you can hear. Um,
Diego State
Josh, can you
came
hear
up
this?
clutch against a very Yep. good
All right.
FAU.
Well, let's play this clip once again because Josh predicted the future, ladies and gentlemen. Let me get my mic out of the way. Ugh.
Sorry to tell France, yeah. I just want to congratulate the University of Connecticut Huskies right now for winning March Madness. I'm saying this right before the game ends.
Go so bad if
No, it didn't. They dominated San Diego State handily. They win by 10 plus. It's easy domination over the tournament, all double-digit wins, and they will cut down the nets in about 2 hours when we're recording this. Thank you. Sorry, Thai France, but the Huskies won it.
I'm just gonna clip this because if this backfires on Josh, I'm gonna play it next week like 50 times. Just so Josh gets reminded that he was completely wrong. But if not, then Josh is like a mind reader and predicts the future. So, well, Josh, I mean, you pretty much nailed it on the money. UConn easily destroyed San Diego State 76-59. You predicted the future, 10 plus points. And I don't get to, troll you for getting anything wrong.
This week's gonna be shaky though. This week's Josh hot take will be. It's gonna be a close one.
Yeah, I mean, just that. I mean, you were on the money with that prediction, so that is pretty darn impressive, Josh. I will give you kudos for that. I was really hoping that I could, laugh at you for getting it wrong, but I don't get to, so that's tough. Now let's go to the Seahawks for a little bit. Draft is coming up in late April, and we heard news that Seahawks are gonna visit Jalen Carter. Now, Jalen Carter was a big name in this class, big time defensive lineman. A lot of people were saying he's going to go top 5. And then some controversy happened with him. We don't really need to get deep into that, but there was a lot of controversy with him. And then he showed to his pro day overweight, couldn't even finish his drills. And now the Seahawks are visiting him. And so, I mean, Josh, if the possibility shows up that Seattle can draft Jalen Carter, let's say like Will Anderson's gone, let's say Anthony Richardson's gone, let's say, most of the QBs are gone. Would you be willing to draft Jalen Carter?
I think especially at that number 5 spot, no way, no chance at all. No matter if 4 picks are all QBs, which is, I mean, I guess some chance of happening. I wouldn't take him. There's just for a number 5 overall pick is in the first round that you just got out of nowhere because Russell Wilson did absolute dog poop with the Denver Broncos. You want this pick to be really good. Is this really good pick? Is this gonna hit it all? Not. There's just so many question marks that it's just not worth putting a 5th overall pick rather than actually possibly just either trading it for somebody who's already good which I don't think we're gonna do. I don't think there's anybody else in the open market that would do that. Or trade it down, get a bunch of decent guys that are worth the price that are really likely to hit. I mean, as you said about him not finishing his pro day, he also um didn't finish the combine as well because he had to deal with legal stuff. And I mean, his stats don't look well. I mean, he only has sacks, which is okay, but when you play on a dominant team like Georgia, maybe you should have gotten a little bit more. Though yes, there's also some really good defensive players. But if you're really good at a fifth overall pick, you should be able to shine and star on some of the best teams and even on a dominant team. He just did, I guess, okay.
And I mean, a big question is his work ethic. I mean, when you get into that legal trouble, isn't the point to, prove everybody wrong by showing out at the combine, showing out your pro day? He came out overweight and couldn't even finish his drills, which really brings up a question about his work ethic. Is he really committed to this? And the fact that he like nearly threw all of this away is really a question mark. So I agree with you there, Josh. I don't know if drafting Jalen Carter is a good idea. I mean, we could draft edge rushers in like Miles Murphy or Tyree Wilson, something like that. Defensive tackles, I mean, we could save that for later. And with Jalen Carter, it's just too many question marks, like you said. It's a little too tough to see right now, and really his pro day combine just really did not help matters at all. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is a quick episode today. Jacob is chilling at Disneyland, so he has spring break, and Josh and I are in school because our school district decided we'll let you guys go out a week early, which was cool. But then now everyone else gets to, you know, go on vacation while we are in school. So that's great. And so Josh and I are going to end the episode here. I mean, we are pretty darn tired because we had a rough track workout today to endure. So we'll we'll see you guys next
I was
time.
fine.
Yeah, I was not. I cramped up on both legs. I don't even know. You can list me as questionable for this next track meet. We'll see you guys for episode 37. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Honestly, we'll see you guys next time for episode 37. Seattle sports is really rolling. See you guys.